Well, we're back, and I have a panel of experts here that are really helping deconstruct what's happened here. Kerri is with us virtually, and if we can put the statement back up from Kohberger's family, the thing that jumps out to me about this is they talk about letting the process do what it needs to do and not jumping to conclusions. But nowhere in there do they take a stand that say, we know our son and we know he didn't do this.
Exactly.
Yeah. And as a father of two sons that I know intimately from my heart, the first words out of my mouth would be, you need to look somewhere else because I know my boy, and my boy did not do this, could not do this, and they would have to prove me wrong. And this statement, I think they know there's something not right about this young man. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, psychologically speaking, does that bother anybody else?
Yeah.
Is anybody else surprised that these parents do not come out passionately and fervently and say, I stand by my son and I can tell you he is not capable of doing this?
They're also hiding behind the legal process. It is a long process. There are a lot of evidentiary hearings. The evidence that's been gathered is going to be attacked by the defense. They're going to say, well, of course it was contaminated. How do you know it was Bryan Kohberger that he was the actual killer? You have one drop of blood. I mean, they're going to try to dissect every piece of evidence. And we know that it was a masterclass of investigation. That affidavit was phenomenal on all those levels. Those law enforcement officials did a phenomenal job gathering the evidence, but that's not going to stop the attacks.
I think that probably you would expect, as you mentioned, Doc, this almost evangelical zeal when it's your boy. And, you know, you begin to think about this. He's going to shout it from the rooftops that this is not my son. The real tell here, though, moving forward, is to see if they remain muted, where, you know, we just hear nothing whatsoever. Going forward with this process, if they're not going to make any more statements, again, that might go to this fact that you pointed out, that something ain't right. You know, we don't, you know, the old song, you know, behind closed doors, you don't know what's going on in that house. Right. Nobody does, you know? And so the way things are communicated in a familial environment like this is odd. You can unpack this for days and days and days. We don't know what went on inside of that home.
They may have even seen that knife before.
They very well might have. Boy, that would send a chill down your spine.
I also want to point out, kind of underscore your point here, the date of the statement. The date of the statement was the day after, or 2 days, it was 2 days after his arrest. So there's no emphatic declaration of his innocence before anyone, Bryan Kohberger and his family included, knew what the evidence was in the probable cause affidavit against him. So they're saying this knowing absolutely nothing about the police's
same
case.
After the affidavit.
And I'm sure Kerri can speak to this. You know, Kerri, I read your book, and you did a reassessment of your relationship with your father in the days and weeks and years afterwards. And I'm sure this family immediately is reassessing their relationship with Bryan and kind of seeing what are the signs. Maybe he was a little strange. That does kind of pique my interest, but not knowing what he's accused of, and Kerri, not knowing what your father was accused of, maybe that didn't stand out to you at the time, but in hindsight does.
And that's the difference between an apex predator, like somebody who abuses and physically abuses their spouse in front of people, versus somebody who wants to kill in secret and not get caught. They will still present odd behaviors, but it may not be violent like somebody who beats up somebody.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.